Only one person in your group should watch this video and make the graph. In this video, you'll analyze budgets to see how much it usually costs to make a movie. Then you'll be better able to decide if a budget for a movie idea is appropriate. To do this, you will create a histogram. A histogram is a type of graph that groups numbers into ranges called buckets. Then it uses bars of different heights to show how many items fit into each range. You could draw a histogram by hand, but with over 500 movies, that would take a really long time. Fortunately, a spreadsheet can do this work for you. To start, select the data to include in the graph. In the movie data sheet, select all the data in the budget column. Click Insert, then Chart. The chart editor suggests using a column chart, but since there is so much data, it is difficult to see. Instead, use a histogram. The histogram automatically puts the budget ranges on the x-axis and the number of movies in each budget range on the y-axis. This way, you can see how many movies were made within certain budget ranges. Next, customize your graph. If you'd like, change the title, fonts, background color, and colors of your graph. Your graph automatically sets a bucket size that you can change. Select a bucket size that allows you to see all the data, but in a way that makes sense. If your bucket size is too big, the data is difficult to interpret. Type 100 million, 100 followed by 6 zeros as your bucket size. Most movies cost between 0 and 100 million, but that's a very wide range. If your bucket size is too small, you can't see all the data. Experiment with your bucket sizes to depict your data most effectively. At the end of this unit, you will present the movie your group chooses. You will use one of these graphs in your presentation, so make sure it's easy to read. Label the axes on your chart so that you can tell what your histogram depicts. Change the horizontal axis title to Movie Budgets. The vertical axis usually shows frequency, or the number of times something occurs. Label the vertical axis Number of Movies. Remove the legend on the histogram to make the chart easier to read. A legend is useful if you are comparing different types of data on the same graph, but here the legend makes the graph harder to read. When you finish customizing your histogram, click the X in the chart editor. Click and drag the graph so that it does not cover any of the data. Your partners may also be inserting their graphs at the same time, so work around each other. To edit your graph, double-click on the graph, and the chart editor reappears. Take a look at the graph. Most movies cost between $0 and $80 million to produce. There are very few movies that cost between $80 and $180 million, and even fewer that cost more than $180 million. Look at the movie ideas document. Where do these budgets fall in the distribution? You might decide right away that $300 million is too much to spend on a comedy, for example. When you finish customizing your graph, check on your partners to see if they need help. When your group has completed all of the graphs, move on to the next video to wrap up data visualization. Now it's your turn. Select the entire budget column. Click Insert, then Chart. Select Histogram as the chart type. Customize your graph by changing the title, fonts, and colors. Tinker with the bucket size until your graph is easy to read. Label the axes on the graph and remove the legend. Then, check on your partners to see if they need help. When you have all finished creating your graphs, move on to the next video to wrap up data visualization.